The third thing I want to say is we need to integrate our elements. In addition to naming our negotiables, non-negotiables, and finding our frames, we need to integrate our elements. I talked to my students in my communications class about logos and ethos and pathos, Aristotle's 3 elements of rhetoric. Logos, the appeal to logic or reason. Ethos, the appeal to character and credibility. And pathos, the appeal to emotion or sentiment. And Aristotle understood that to be good in your rhetorical projects, to be a good orator or speaker or writer, you need to be able to juggle these 3 balls of ethos and logos and pathos. You need to put these things together, not separate them, but integrate them. And so we need to integrate those elements of rhetoric, which were as useful for antiquity as they are for our own day. But we also need to do some other things, not just to integrate those 3 elements of rhetoric, but we also need to be able to adopt what I call a both-and approach rather than an either-or approach. I believe in choice, believe me. Freedom of choice for lots of people, right? Every people, all people, unless it causes harm to people. I believe in choice, but I also believe in integration. I believe in both-and approaches. And so I believe that if we are going to do progressive work and we are going to critique, we also need to be able to call to action. We need to be able to say what's wrong, and we also need to be able to say what we would want to be right and how we might get there. We need to be able to integrate the elements of problem identification and solution advancing. We need to be able to yoke together, as I say to my students, stories and statistics. For every number, there should be a narrative. For every story, there should be a statistic. For all the quantitative data that we do at places like the Kennedy School, where data-driven public policy is a value and a practice, we also need to be able to have qualitative data, the human dimension of how that data operates in the world and what it tells us about the people in the world. And so we need to be able to integrate the elements when we communicate. Stories and statistics, logos, ethos, pathos, critiques and calls to action, problems and solutions.